In this video, I want to discuss the Harbingers, the falling lights that lit up the skies above Verra ages ago. So come along with me for a glorious time, and I hope you're entertained. I'm going to theorize about the Harbingers, what they are, where they came from, and who they carried. In this video, I'm going to be referencing a lot of Delia's diary and a lot of the lore from Apocalypse. And make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications to stay up to date with all my videos, and let's start. So to give you some context to how these falling lights, the Harbingers, would have seemed to the people of Verra, we have to apply them to our world first. So let's start off by explaining what a Harbinger is. The dictionary defines a Harbinger as something that foreshadows a future event. From Delia's diary, we know that her mother was an oracle. And an oracle, for those of you who don't know, is defined as a priest or priestess acting as a medium through whom advice or prophecy was sought from the gods in classical antiquity. We see the power that an oracle can have on a civilization by looking back into our own history. The most famous oracle of the ancient world was the Oracle of Delphi. This oracle rose to prominence and was known as the belly button of the ancient Greek world. The story of how one interprets such knowledge is made aware in the story of King Croesus. He asked the oracle whether he should war with a neighboring kingdom. The oracle told him if he did, a great kingdom would fall. The king took this as a sign of his own victory, but it turned out he was actually hearing his own fate, and his kingdom fell. Little is known about the other oracles in the time of Verra, and whether they still exist, but it would definitely be intriguing to learn more about their predictions and how the leaders of Verra interpreted them. The races of Verra sound like a reasonable group, engaging in studies of magic, some in scientific theories, discoveries, and others in religious studies. Whatever the case, there dwells a realm of mysticism and superstition in the world. This viewing of the happenings is prevalent in the falling Harbingers, as they clearly state they were a sign from the gods, or as we would know them, as an omen. An omen is defined as an event regarded as a portent of good or evil. In our world, there are many types of omens, such as tinglings of your hand, wishing upon a star, ladybugs landing on you, black cats crossing your path, or seeing an owl during the day. Whether it's falling lights, omens, or harbingers, or whatever the case, we also have a name for those naturally occurring celestial bodies. We call them comets. There was a time our ancient ancestors reacted as Verrans did. There is a story in Yakut legend that in ancient Mongolia they referred to comets as the daughter of the devil, and they warned of destruction. Stories associating comets with such terrible imagery are the basis of so many cultures on Earth and fuel a dread that followed comet sightings throughout our history. Religious or shamanic cultures use these omens to control the populace and engage in inhumane practices to appease the unknown forces behind these phenomena. It is understandable that during the time the Harbingers first appeared, the inhabitants on Verra had already plagued themselves with fear through rumors and perhaps propaganda. Viewing these Harbingers as omens, whether those omens were interpreted as good or evil, would be entirely open to each individual clan and race. So with the general idea of what the appearance of the Harbingers above the skies of Verra would have meant to the people, and a bit of insight to how they reacted, I'm going to discuss and speculate on some numbers. From what we've gathered from Delia's diary, we are told there were 3 Harbingers that first appeared. To understand why I believe this number is important, we have to take a step back to the beginning, the age of the original 10 gods. Before Verra, perhaps before anything, there were 10 divine beings. The lore refers to them simply as the 10. These 10 divines created another form of life called the Ancients. The Ancients were imbued with qualities of those 10 gods, so we'd have to assume these Ancients were extremely powerful. These Ancients would go on to be the monsters we fight against in time of the Great Fall and in the upcoming MMO. Remember that. Now here's where the number 3 becomes important. There were 3 gods who would be referred to as the others, who taught the ancients the secret of the essence. The essence, for those who are unfamiliar, is a type of substance present in all magic that can be manipulated to whatever purpose its wielder desires. These 7 other gods found out, and a war broke out. When all was said and done, the 3 gods known as the Others and the beings known as the Ancients were tossed into a void and banished. The 7 remaining gods went on to create the races and Verra itself. As we have seen time and again, no one takes banishment sitting down. So it is my theory that the first 3 lights in the sky that Delia talks about are actually the 3 gods, the Others. They are the flagship to this calamity. In concept art, the Harbinger is in the shape of an egg. This could be where the Ancients and the Others are held, kind of like a spaceship. It is more than likely that they brought corruption with them, and there's a passage in the APOC lore that kind of backs this up. It comes from Entry 1, City Havoc. The worst thing that the Harbingers brought was not the Ancients, but the corruption that they spread. There are also a few factors we have no knowledge of. What type of place the Others were banished to? If they were imprisoned before they were banished? Since we know little of the creator gods and where they lived, it is safe to say they resided in space. There is evidence of other realms being present in the world of Ashes, backed by APOC lore. I won't read all of it, but the first line of this passage, the Light Pact found themselves in a strange realm, a place where the rules of reality were bent and twisted. Now let's talk about what's aboard these Harbingers. In a lore story from APOC, an adventurer named Rakashi found herself deep inside a Harbinger where we find out hundreds, if not more, of the Ancients dwell. This is an incredible amount of Ancients or monsters. Going back to Delia's diary, it is revealed a total of 16 Harbingers were present in the sky before the fall of Dunheim. If we do some math, we take 16 Harbingers and say around 100 Ancients per Harbinger, that's 1600 Ancients, or 1600 very powerful monsters. These Others and the Ancients return to Verra by some means, take revenge, and in my personal opinion, to pervert the very world and creatures the 7 created. It definitely makes for a great story, mocking the gods who thought they had sealed away something dangerous. The Harbingers who brought the Ancients have a very mysterious origin, and they could have come from anywhere. They could have come from a different realm or a different galaxy, and by my definition, that's an alien. However, we're still left with some real questions. If the 7 were benevolent, why did they close the connection during the Exodus, forsaking so many? The 7 didn't want secrets of the essence to be discovered, but what was the reason? Is essence more powerful than the gods themselves? Where did the 10 come from? Was it the essence who created them, or did they just appear? Perhaps they're from another realm or universe. Maybe they're refugees from another place, a dying world perhaps? Did the 7 foresee the return of the Others? Was this the reason in creating Verra and the 4 races? Was it the Others' plan all along to drive the inhabitants out of Verra, to weaken the 7's influence and power? How did the Others and the Ancients escape their banishment? So many questions and so little answers. I want you all to remember this. The people of Verra are fascinated with the stars. There's an entire subrace of Orc, the Vec, who dedicate their lives to gazing at the stars and science. There's also a scientific node that you can read about on the scientific blog, but sooner or later we will find out if the truth is out there. Let me know what you think about the origin of the Harbingers or anything lore-wise in the comments. I hope I have left you a bit more intrigued, or maybe you're still confused. Tell me in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.